Okay, two events A and B are such that the probability of A is 0.33, the probability of B is 0.45, and the probability of A intersection B is 0.13. Find the probability of A union B, the probability that either A or B occurs. So what you want to look at there is a Venn diagram. Okay, what we know is that the probability of A is 0.33. Now I'm going to put that here for a minute. And the probability of B is 0.45. But the probability of the intersection is 0.13. So I just put 0.13 there. That means that this part here is 0.2. Because I've taken the 0.13 away from the 0.33. And this part here is going to be 0.32. Because again, I've taken the 0.13 away. Now, don't forget, you should also have some sort of, outside your universal set. So if you add up everything, we can take these away now, if you wish, okay? If you add up everything, the 0.3, the 0.13, the 0.32, and take that away from 1, you're left with 0.35 that hasn't been accounted for. So it's in the universal set, but not part of set A or set B. Okay. So what is the probability of A union B? That's everything in these sets. So imagine if I was to shade all that in. So it's basically 1 subtract that. So 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. Okay. And that would get you 5 marks. So the next part says, find the conditional probability that A complement given that B complement. Now, what does A complement mean? It means that A doesn't happen and B doesn't happen. So what's the probability that A doesn't happen given that B doesn't happen? Well, first thing is you write down your conditional probability formula, which is the probability of, in this case, A complement intersection B complement divided by the probability of B complement. So what we're looking at here is the probability that A doesn't happen and B doesn't happen, which is your 0.35. So we put 0.35 on the top. And then the probability that B doesn't happen. So the probability that B doesn't happen is the 0.2 and the 0.35, because they're the two things that are outside of B. So add 0.2 and 0.35 and we get 0.55. Okay, and then you just put that into your calculator and you end up getting 0.6363 recurring. Okay, again, that would be worth 5 marks. And the last part of that question is state whether events A and B are independent. Now, remember, that's a key word. So if something is independent, then the probability of A times by the probability of B is equal to the probability of A intersection B if A and B are independent. Okay, so we know that the probability of A is 0.33. The probability of B is 0.45. Multiply them and you get 0.1485, which obviously does not equal to 0.13. So therefore, they are not independent. So A and B are not independent.